Hello curious, as we have discussed many times before now, the Crown is causing quite a stir inside and outside of the British royal family, and also the Spencer family. The maternal side of Prince William and Harry's relatives is no exception to this madness. Although they have managed to keep a low profile in the media, they are one of the most powerful families in England, but what has now brought them back into the public eye? Well, people's love for Princess Diana has been dramatically reborn and going out there full steam ahead. And obviously, once again, the media's attention on her family has been rekindled with it. Who were Lady Diana's parents? Are they still looking to find the culprits responsible for her passing? How is their relationship with the royal family? Stay with me until the very end to find out what the last conversation that Lady Di had with her mother was, but before we continue, don't forget to hit the bell and subscription button so you don't miss any of our videos. Needless to say, after the tragic accident involving the Queen of People's Hearts, the media attention was basically focused on the British royal family. But where did the Spencer family stay? Let's go back in time a little bit, where the world didn't really know much about Lady Di. We're talking about before she married the Prince of Wales in 1981, and to her even less known family. Although they had royal connections, they stayed out of the spotlight even after the wedding. Who were Diana's parents, and are they still alive? As some of you might know, Diana Frances Spencer was born on July 1st, 1961 at Park House in Sandringham, which is a town in the north of Norfolk County in England. She was the fourth of 5 children of John Spencer and Frances Roche, who were married in 1954. She had earned the title of Lady after her grandfather had passed away, and the title of Count was then passed on to her father. John Spencer was born on January 24, 1924 in London to Albert Spencer, who was the 7th Earl Spencer, and Lady Cynthia Hamilton. He was the Viscount of Althorp, and a fun fact is that Althorp is a property that has belonged to his family for over 500 years. He moved to Park House when he married Frances, whose family had rented the property to King George VI. They remained there until John became the 8th Earl Spencer after his father's passing in 1975, after which they took up residence at the ancestral house. Lady Di's mother, Frances Ruff Roche, was born on January 20th, 1936, also at Park House. She was the daughter of Maurice Roche, who was the 4th Baron of Fermoy, and Ruth Sylvia Gill, who through marriage was the Baroness. Her and John's wedding took place at Westminster Abbey and was attended by many members of the royal family. Her mother was even a close confidant of Queen Elizabeth I. Diana's siblings are Elizabeth Sarah Lavinia Spencer, who was born on March 19, 1955, and of course curious, the one who Prince Charles was dating before she had introduced him to her younger sister. Lady Sarah later married Neil Edmund McCorkdale. Then Cynthia Jane Spencer was born on February 11, 1957. Lady Jane married Robert Fellows in 1978, and she is the mother of 3 children. Lady Di also had an older brother who tragically passed away. John Spencer had suffered a severe deformity at birth, which resulted in him passing only 10 hours after being born. And finally, the sibling that most people remember, who often speaks about his sister in the media, Charles Edward Maurice Spencer, who was born in 1964. He is an author, journalist, and the 9th Earl Spencer. Oh, and guess who his godmother is? Yep, it is none other than Queen Elizabeth II herself. Her parents were very unhappy with their marriage, and they were desperate for a male heir, so when Diana's older brother did not survive, they were naturally devastated. Wanting to have another child, their hearts were broken when Lady Di turned out to be another girl. This had a negative effect on her and caused her relationship with her family members to be strained. Perhaps many things could be explained here as to why she literally put up with so much in her marriage to Prince Charles. What do you think, curious? The future wife of Prince Charles was only 7 years old when her parents separated and then divorced. Her father obtained custody of their children and then married Reine, Countess of Dartmouth, in 1976. In a Marie Claire interview, Charles Spencer opened up about his parents by saying, "Our father was a quiet and constant source of love, but our mother wasn't cut out for maternity. Not her fault, she just couldn't do it." In another interview with the Sunday Times, he would go on to explain that his mother was infatuated with another man, and that one day when she was packing her things to leave, she promised the then 5-year-old Diana that she would come back to see her. He then went on to explain how his older sister would sit by the front door waiting for her to come back. Her relationship with her stepmother was no better, and according to a documentary titled Princess Diana's Wicked Stepmother, during one argument at a party, the future princess pushed her down the stairs. So as you can see, at the beginning their relationship was not very good, but shortly before Diana's tragic passing, the two reconciled and became quite close. Later, in 1969, her mother had married Peter Shand Kidd and heir to the Shand Kidd wallpaper fortune. This marriage also ended in divorce in 1990. Ventures had passed away on June 3, 2004 after a long battle with Parkinson's and brain cancer. 4 months before her untimely passing, Diana had stopped talking to her mother. Her father passed away after a heart attack in 1992. Continuing a little with the relationship that Diana had with her mother, it has been said that the last conversation she had with her was when her mother called her a bitch. This had been brought to light by one of those closest to Princess Diana, her butler Paul Burrell, who witnessed the conversation that the two ladies had. It had been known for a long time that her mother did not accept her lifestyle after her divorce from the heir to the British throne, and did not support her approach to men, but probably no one expected such a conversation. According to Burrell's account, it was a hateful and personal attack against these men and their religious beliefs. She even called the princess a for dating Muslim men and said that she was an embarrassment to the family. The conversation ended when Diana fell to the ground crying. Wow, this is some strong words there, Curious. What do you think about her mother's reaction? That conversation was allegedly about Diana's relationships with cardiologist Hasnat Khan and business guru Lalvin. According to Burrell, Diana had sworn she would never speak to her mother again, and she kept that word. In an interview, the former butler said how prophetic and sad those words were, because she didn't. It is something her mother will have to live with for the rest of her life. As for what the princess's relationship with her father was like, there is not much information, since one could say that she herself adopted Prince Philip to be somewhat like her father. So looking back at things now, it is quite clear why Princess Diana was so close and loving with her children William and Harry, as she perfectly knew that her mother's presence was very important. In fact, it is not that the Princess of Wales lost her family before her marriage, but in fact she found her own in Prince Charles's. Although we all know what happened there. On the night of August 31st, 1997, something terrible occurred. Lady Diana had passed away as a result of a fatal car accident in Paris, and the effects of which would be felt across the whole world. For some people, what happened that night was not only a tragic accident. Instead, there are conspiracy theories, ones that claim that the royal family was responsible for it all, or maybe even the government themselves. But what do you think about all this? Though after the accident, numerous reports, investigations and experts have coincided with the official account of the events, that Diana was in a car that was driven by a man that was intoxicated. And of course, her family didn't sit idly by at the fact that a person under the influence drove Diana's car. For them, it was totally unreasonable. As we all know, the care that people are given from their, well, let's say staff, for the sake of this. Now imagine the kind of care that is given to royalty. Now, let's combine this and talk about Prince Charles Spencer, the princess's younger brother, because back in 1997, at Diana's funeral, he said some words at the princess's wake which by some were interpreted almost as a declaration of war. At Westminster Abbey, Spencer condemned the media and promised to challenge the royal family, who were right in front of him, whom he described as repressed monsters. He said, "I pledge that we, your blood family, will do all we can to continue the imaginative way in which you are steering these two exceptional young men, so that their souls are not simply immersed by duty and tradition, but can sing openly as you planned." As for his promise, well, we know all too well how the princess did in life. As for the Count, he seems to have spent the past years collecting countesses, 3 to be exact, and writing books. Both Harry and William have enjoyed a more private but equally lasting bond with the maternal side of their family, and Harry, who is 6th in line for the throne and therefore a little less tied to the Windsor side than the future King William, has kept the Spencers especially close. He keeps the memory of his late mother alive by inviting his entire family to important events such as his wedding, and he has always been close to his aunts who attended his son Archie's christening. But fun fact, they did not attend any of Prince William's children's christenings, and since Harry is not a great admirer of his Uncle Charles or his wife, he did not invite them to Archie's. William seems to not be so far from his maternal side of the family, as it was speculated that at the time he angered Prince Harry by asking Earl Spencer to intervene and prevent him from rushing to marry Meghan Markle. So Curious, what do you think about Diana's family? Did you know about the argument that she had with her mother, or that her mother was not the motherly type? And what do you think about Earl Spencer's words at Diana's wake? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel, and I will see you in the next video.